just keep going? Okay, let's get started with the Q&A. Hopefully that was enough. Let me start over. I feel like that was too much. Let me see. Was that good, babe? What's going on, everybody? Ulysses Benitez here, live reporting with and my wife. Of course, I got married in when did we get married?
17,
I think she doesn't even remember. 27.
You're stupid. Just let it be natural.
I know.
You show your personality. That's something you would say.
I know. What's going on, everybody? Reporting live here with my first ever YouTube video, Ulysses Benitez. If you guys don't already know me, of course, some of you guys have seen me through my wife's channel, Yvette XO, known as Blanca to me. And man, it's been a long time coming. I know there's been so many of you guys asking when I was gonna finally sit down and do this, but I always believe in like everything and timing and things like that. So yeah, it's now. Moved to LA recently, and this first video is going to be a Q&A, a little bit about myself. But before we get into the actual questions, I just want to give you guys like a general background on myself. 27 years old, originally from Stockton, California, Northern California, if you guys aren't familiar with California. And recently I moved to SoCal. My journey with myself and my growth, it started with hair. And barbering has been something that I've been doing since 2010, 2011. Graduated high school in 2011. And yeah, I just kind of took it on from there. It was nothing really big at the time, and the industry has obviously grown ever since. And yeah, I just got into it at a great time. I love cutting hair. It's always been my passion. And that's really what a lot of you guys also know me through. So now at this stage in my life, I feel like it's time to kind of venture off into other things I've wanted to pursue. And it's been this too, kind of sitting down, inspiring people and things like that. So hopefully through this YouTube journey, you guys are able to see a little bit more about that. A little bit of family. So I'm a brother of 3. I'm the middle child. So all you middle childs, you guys know what I'm talking about. Is that middle child syndrome? It does exist. And I do have an older brother, younger brother. We're actually like only like 2.5 years apart. So it was a great childhood growing up. Both my parents were migrated over from Mexico, and that's kind of how the journey started. You know, they taught us the morals and values and things like that. And thankfully, you know, I can't complain about, you know, my upbringing. After high school was kind of like, what do I do, right? So that's how the hair journey started. It was just more of a hobby, and then it turned into something I took very, very serious. And obviously I met my wife in between that time. A lot of you guys know our journey. There'll be more videos where we'll talk about it, but obviously it's been a blessing, and it's, you know, a lot of my growth and success to her as well. So there's a lot of cool things that I'll eventually get into. There's like so much I feel like saying in just this video, but I want to keep it about what it is, which is a Q&A. So I'm going to answer 20 questions that I picked from my Instagram, and I'll tag my actual Instagram here below, my Twitter and other social media, so that way you guys could follow me on there if you guys don't already do so. So question number 1, how are you like your mom and dad? How are you different? All right, so let's see. So we'll start with my dad, because my dad's very laid back. I like to compare myself a lot to him because I feel like we're both very chill. We don't worry about stuff too much, you know. I feel like that's my personality is very much like that, where, you know, things are happening, I'm like, okay, like chill, like I'll look at the positive side or say it's not that serious, things like that. And very hardworking, very detailed. My dad actually paints for a living, so he's very meticulous with his work, and I feel like that's kind of transitioned down to me with, you know, the art of barbering. And that's just kind of a general thing I can think of on top of my head. As far as my mom goes, the seriousness, I feel like that serious look that all you guys know me through, that's through my mom, like, and everybody knows that. What else? I think also being kind of strict with certain things, I feel like I get that through her, and not getting into any trouble, things like that, just stuff that my mom's always concerned about, and I feel like I could relate to that. Those are just things on top of my head that I can think of. Life experiences that shaped who you are. So I would say barbering for sure shaped me. I feel like it was an industry that I put a lot of, you know, labor into, a lot of work, a lot of countless hours. I feel like once you get shaped by, you know, putting in 100% effort into something, like long days, early mornings, things like that, like those things shape you. Being surrounded by people, cutting hair, you get to meet a lot of people. So I just kind of say people in general, whether it's like people you think are your friends, clients, people that start as clients and become really good friends, or also people who are just in it to be there for, you know, for their benefit. People that aren't really, you know, true friends, I guess you can say. I feel like I've encountered different experiences with that in my life, and I feel like without that, I wouldn't be who I am, because I would never be able to tell a difference, you know. And that's why I'm very big on keeping a small circle. All right, so next question: how did you decide on your brand's name? So Sharp and Dapper, it started in 2016. It literally started from scratch because I wanted to do something some different, something where I could combine two things together, and that's where the actual ampersand comes in between, because it brings both things together, right? So that's where it started. That was like the first thing I thought of. Boom, me and the designer came up with that icon. And then I always like the word dapper. So for those that don't know what it means, it just means like having qualities that elevate, like respect, style, and appearance, things that like I could relate to and that I live by, right? So that's why I really like the word dapper. And then sharp was just something to bring it together, because, you know, sharp could mean anything, like being on point, being precise. And I feel like when I carry both of those things on the daily basis, you know, it's something that was more than just a name. And that's why Sharp and Dapper, that's really how it started. So that's a little bit of background on that. And reflect on the journey you took with your wife to get where you are now. Took a deep breath on that one, if you guys noticed. Man, it's been such a long time coming. I think the journey's been long, even though I feel like it's passed us by. There's just so much in between that has led up to where we are now. I think I could always go into it in another video, but it wasn't always pretty. I know you guys see a lot of, you know, the good times, and they are good. You know, we really click very well together. We don't argue over stuff that's unnecessary, and I feel like I always tell her, like, you know, life's too short to be sitting here worried about a stupid little fight. You know, I'd rather really fight over things that you know are worth fighting for, but not, it won't be this, you know. So I've always kind of carried that, and we've grown. I mean, that's it. Like, being together for a while now, I feel like it's only right if you grow, and growing together has been a blessing. I could for sure sit down on another video and actually go over, you know, the full-on story, but as far as reflecting back on it, I mean, I'm blessed and I'm grateful for every experience that, you know, we've dealt with together. What are your goals now that you're living in LA? So it's so fresh, you guys. I mean, we're in March now, late March. I moved in February, so it's really only been a month and a half, and I've been doing so much back home that I haven't really settled here yet. Until now, this you know, this time that I've been able to be here, I've been able to kind of sit down and really just reflect on everything. And this is something that I've been wanting to do, YouTube. So this is a start. There's so much more. I'm not sure where the hair part is gonna fit in. I'm not sure if I want to open up a barbershop, if I want to do something else with it. But only time will tell. I'm not rushing. I'm just taking advantage of the time that I have now, and this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. So YouTube is for sure on the list, and it's officially running. All right, next question. What are your biggest pet peeves? Man, let's see. I'll try to keep it short and simple. I think manners is one. Like, if people don't have manners, I feel like I got brought up in, you know, saying hi when you walk in the door, you know, saying bye, shaking hands, being respectful. Those things that go a long way, and I feel like society nowadays doesn't have enough of that. So I think when I see it, it bothers me, because I know like how I was brought up, and you know, those things are important to me. Common sense. I feel like when people don't have common sense, like or, you know, I don't know how to explain that one too much, but, you know, just have common sense. Like, I'm not really the type of person that you're gonna fool, you know what I mean? So sometimes when I feel like people don't have common sense and try to go around things a certain way, I'm just like, dude. Fake people, man. I mean, I can't stand fake people, liars. Those things are big to me, because doing what I do, I feel like there's a lot of people that come in and just try to be there for the good times, and just to take advantage, or to where you're no longer beneficial to them. At the same time, I'm grateful for, you know, people like that, because those are the ones that teach me the most. Cleanliness, you know, I feel like if somebody's like really dirty, it bothers me, you know what I mean? Because I feel like goes back to the common sense part. Everybody should have common sense of being dirty or being clean. And thankfully my wife's the most clean person I've ever met, so that helps. How do you make time for your business and for your family? So I think finding your balance. I wouldn't say there's a right or wrong way because we're all different. We all do different things. But if I could give some advice, focus on your business, give it 100% when you're there. Try not to take it home with you as much, even though it's difficult. And as far as family, like when you're sitting there with your family, like actually spend time with them. Don't just sit there with them, because there's a difference between being present but actually spending time. Next question would be, what made you decide to open up a shop? That's the dream, right? To have some type of establishment with your name on it, something that you built. So that's really where it started, just wanting to do something, establish something. It took probably like a good 4 years before I actually like opened something, and for a lot that was probably a long time, but I think it was perfect timing because I went through enough experiences to like be prepared for that moment, and thankfully it's been good. How to maintain a successful business? Give it your all, man. I mean, nobody else is gonna care about your business as much as you are, and I know you guys have probably heard that before, but it's true. Like, especially once you have other employees or people working for you, things like that. A lot of people are just, they go, they handle their business and they leave, but all the extra little things that come in between, that's what you got to take care of. And if you don't do that, nobody else will. Trust me, they will not. So staying up to date with it, keeping up with the latest things, bringing it in, especially with my business, like a barbershop, you know, you have to stay up to date. I recently just remodeled and expanded my shop, so you know, just keeping up with it, actually reinvesting into it, that's like the biggest thing as well. Like, you know, I've also heard people that say, well, I wanted to do this, and they never get around to it, and they're there for like 10 years, and it's like, when's that time gonna come? So as far as keeping it successful, just, you know, always look for more for your business. What do you love about your wife, and how do you keep your relationship fresh? This is a good one. What do I love about my wife? I think the fact that she's so ambitious and hungry and always going for more. I feel like we're like this when it comes to that, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Like, I can't see myself with somebody that wouldn't be as hungry as me, even hungrier. So I feel like I look up to her a lot in that sense, and so many other qualities, you know, that I love her for. She's a great mom. She's very, very caring, you know, always wants the best for me. And I think when you're in a relationship, you know, the other person being considerate of you matters a lot. And, you know, she picks me up on days where, you know, I'm slacking, or also on days where, you know, I'm messing up on something. So I like the fact that she puts me in my place when I need to be, and I snap out of it and I become a better person. How do I keep the relationship fresh? That part's kind of hard because, you know, being with somebody for a while, sometimes you lose that little touch. So it's always good to kind of like reflect and say, okay, you know, I need to, you know, do extra things. And you do lose it straight up. You do, like, after a while, you're like, damn, I'm not as romantic as I used to be. Those are things that I'm still working on, believe it or not. And it's just sometimes you get so caught up in like the business side of things or work, whatever the case may be. So those things are hard. But I mean, if I could give advice on how to keep it fresh, it would just be a little more considerate. Don't just feel like you shouldn't have to do that anymore because you guys are already good. You know, you should always look to, you know, spice it up, you know, whether it's like a dinner, a gift, even just little notes, you know, like small little gestures that go a long way. Next question, is music a big thing in your life in terms of inspiration? I don't think it's the biggest, but I do look at music whenever I, you know, need to feel inspired. I do like to, you know, be active, so I do like to run, work out, things like that. So of course I include music into that. Different type of genres is not always the same one, but I would say it's part of an inspiration, yes. Who is your biggest inspiration / hero? If I would be able to say like a figure, it would probably be Kobe, so rest in peace Kobe. Aside from him just being my favorite basketball player, he was an inspiration because of, you know, the work ethic he had, the mentality, the Mamba mentality, things like that. If you guys really study like how he was as a person and his daily work ethic, and even being on the court when he played, he never let people see his weak side. You know, he was always this figure of like, oh crap, we can't mess with them. And I feel like that I could relate to that, because I feel like you guys have always seen me as like, oh, he looks unapproachable, maybe he's not that cool, but you know, when you really get to know him, you know, he's a caring person, and you know, he's all about his family. I think after he retired, you know, he had various things going on, a true entrepreneur. So I feel like, you know, he's an inspiration, and more of a hero, I would say. You know, I would say more of a hero. As far as inspiration, I would just say my family, period. You know, my wife, my kids. I feel like that's a daily motivation for me, and you know, we could leave it at that, because there's not much more to say about it. I feel like, you know, just seeing them and understanding that I got to keep working harder, and, you know, to be some type of example for my kids when they grow up. I think that's enough inspiration, and of course making my wife proud as well. When did you know that you wanted to have your own business? I think ever since I was in high school, I kind of would never really know what to choose whenever the teacher gave you that task of like, what do you want to be when you grow up, or after, you know, college or whatever. And I would always say entrepreneur, have my own business. That was just like the first things I always went to, because I didn't even know what entrepreneur meant at the time, but it's funny how now, you know, it's something that I'm doing in the present day. But I think ever since then I kind of already had an idea. I didn't know how or what, but barbering was just something that kind of like was there for me without even trying. And then, you know, funny how ironic that was. I ended up doing that for a living. How do you stay positive? Well, that one's a little tough. It's something that was always there, but now it's there even more, maybe because of the more, you know, the experiences I've had. But I think, you know, every day you should look at it as a blessing. I feel like you have the option to be negative or positive about things, and it's like always try to lean towards the positive. I feel like naturally I'm already like that, because like I told you guys in the beginning of the video, I'm not the type of person to worry about things too much. I always just look at the positive side of everything, and that has helped. But now I'm just enhancing it even more, and only putting the right things into my mind. Who you follow on Instagram, the people you're surrounded with. Not everybody's always good, so it's good to be surrounded by a positive group and people that are gonna truly want to see you win. And I mean like really want to see you win, not just to tell you or to hold you back. You know, definitely pay attention to who you're around, and that'll lead to you being more positive. And then on top of that, just feed yourself positive things, like follow inspirational pages on Instagram, read good stuff. You know, train your mind, because after school, I mean, like what kind of education do we really have for ourselves? You know, it's only what you put in. So feed it with positive stuff. That's the best thing I can tell you guys. What's your favorite memory in your barber shop? The moment where my shop was finally full, like all of my chairs were filled up. I think I started with only 6, but there was one point where it was like 10 of us, and including myself, and then the rest were full. So I think when I looked, I was busy, the shop was packed, and everybody was cutting hair, and I was like, crap, I really built something here. I'm not winning, only my whole team is. You know, I think that was like one of my favorite memories for sure. And where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? This one's kind of tough, because I feel like this question was asked when I was in high school, and now it's 10 years later pretty much. So this one's a little difficult to answer. I would just say healthy, happy with my family, more of an entrepreneur, and I mean like expanding into different types of businesses, things like that. Educating my kids, I feel like, you know, spending more quality time with them and teaching them, because by that point, you know, they'll be at a time where they're more aware of things, and it's like, you know, just being a good dad, I would say. Next question, where do you get your clothes? So I am into fashion, not as much as of late. I'm not gonna lie, I fell off, you know, because with all the, like, to me, whenever you're trying to do something, like something else has to fall off, right? So I was like, screw it, I don't need clothes anymore. Like, I have enough of it, and I didn't really keep up with the trends. So now I'm slowly starting to get back into it. As far as like what I like, I would say Zara is like one of my favorite stores for sure. But then there's so many online boutiques now too. I mean, I've seen Fashion Nova Man stuff, Boohoo Man has some cool stuff, ASOS. What do you hope to continue accomplishing in the future? Any exciting new plans? So as far as what I hope to accomplish, as you guys know, Sharp and Dapper is the brand, right? So I have my barbershop, and then I started the actual brand. So that was a big reason why I wanted to move and just fully focus on my brand, because as you guys know, I have my shop, but I actually opened an online business, and I sell clothing on there, hair product, all through Sharp and Dapper. So that's the name of everything, of course. And just to continue to expand that and get it to a point where it's, you know, running on its own. I'm a firm believer in just, you know, putting everything, investing and reinvesting into yourself. So the only way I knew that was going to grow is that if I continued to put things towards it. So that's what I hope to continue to accomplish. As far as new plans, it would be to do something in LA with hair. So like open a shop or something of that nature. I don't really have like a timeline with that. I'm not sure if it's even gonna happen, but that would be one of my new plans. The best advice for a starting barber: stay hungry, establish your name. Okay, so that's like the first thing. If I would, you know, go back when I first started compared to when I learned, so I would say establish yourself, build some type of brand or name for yourself. logo, all those things, something that people know you by. Be consistent. Make sure that your profile, that your Instagram is your business. Don't treat it as just a page where your friends and family are gonna follow you. Like literally treat it like a business, and just remember that people are always watching, and that what you post on there is gonna be a reflection of you. Post your work. Make sure it's high quality. Invest into your tools. That's another big thing. Whether it's a camera, clippers, be clean. Last but not least, customer service. I feel like the way you treat people is what, you know, how they're gonna continue to come back. So make sure you guys are always considerate of that. And just remember that every client is attainable. Talent doesn't matter, but I feel like the experience with you in your chair is what's gonna have that client keep coming back and trusting you. Because even with me, as the years went, I continued to raise my price. People kept coming to me because of myself, not so much about what the price I was charging. You know, it was more of like how comfortable they felt with me. If I could say, you know, words of advice, it would be that the rest is gonna come with time, like experience, invest into classes, always remain hungry and an open book. That way, you know, that knowledge could keep coming in. Next question: what are some of your favorite foods? Well, I have a lot. I'm not a picky eater, that's for sure. So if I could think on top of my head, chilaquiles are probably my favorite breakfast. I would say pozole, menudo, caldos, like, you know, soups. If you guys don't speak Spanish, those are some of my favorite. Of course, tacos, things like that, and milkshakes. I mean, just pretty much everything, really. I'm not too picky. I'm an open book when it comes to food. I feel like I like to eat anything. What was your life before barbering? I never really worked like at a legit real job. The only job I had before cutting hair was while I was in high school, and I worked at a little stand at the mall selling sunglasses, but it was all under the table. I never actually got like a check for it. Never really got a check ever in my life. Just that, and trying to figure out what the hell I was gonna do when I graduated. And then you know, that's really it. I started barbering very young, and I was in high school, so life before barbering was just school and trying to graduate. I think that was everybody's goal before 18. Last question, and I think this is the perfect way to end it, because this is actually how, you know, my journey got started for my personal growth. How did you begin your journey as a barber? Pretty much graduating high school, 2011 is when I graduated. I want to say I picked it up a little bit before that, so let's just say 2010 to make it 10 years now. It's funny how it started. I think, I don't remember the exact time, but imagine, you know, my mom used to cut our hair. Okay, so that's really the background story on it. My mom used to cut me and my two brothers' hair, and my dad as well, because she just wanted to save money. So she bought a whole clipper set. It was there in the garage. And I remember one time we had a basketball game, me and my brother or something. We were on the same team at the time, my little brother, right? So then he needed a haircut hella bad, and my mom was like, I'm too tired, because every time for one, she would take long cutting her hair, and then for two, she was just like, I don't feel like doing it right now. And then if she cut one of us, she had to cut all of us. So I was like, it's cool, I'll do it. So I was always into drawing and art, and having a steady hand wasn't really ever a problem for me. So I was like, it's cool, I'll line you up real quick, right? So then I did one of his sideburns, and at the time they used to do the ice pick ones, the ones with the little like point. And I actually got down, I was like, oh crap, this is not even that bad. It felt like natural, right? So then I said, screw it, let me just cut your full hair. And man, it was the ugliest fade I ever gave him. And it's funny because we had a game that day, so imagine like the whole hair was a bowl, right? Like a bowl cut. So then he got the headbands that they used to wear for basketball games, and we just covered the actual fade. So it was funny. That's pretty much the moment where I was like, oh crap, I kind of like doing this. And I just kept going from there, practicing on really just my brothers, very close family. But I was very shy to actually get out to anybody else. It was very basic when I started. Like, it was just like one numbers around and lineups. That's it. Lineups and one number all around. That's all you were gonna get. But it's the fundamentals, right? Like, I was getting the movement of how to cut, how to line up, you know, the foundation. So that's how that started. Kind of kept growing with it. I got a better setup. Like, I actually bought like an actual barber chair from a salon chair at the time through eBay. That was before Amazon, so eBay was just the way to get things. So I got my stuff through eBay. I got a better setup. I got better clippers. Like, those clippers, those first ones, literally were used until they couldn't work anymore. So I got a better setup, and I got more serious with it. So then that's when I started reaching out to people and actually saying, hey, I cut hair, $5, like things like that. But for a long time it was free. And yeah, $5 haircuts, that's how I started. I knew people through high school, old friends from middle school. So little by little, you know, at the time there wasn't too many people doing it. And I started in my garage, and I've always been appointment based, never was a walk-in barber ever. So That's a fun fact within hair. As those people started rolling in, like it gained me more experience, and I just got better. And but from the beginning, it was, you know, me going to people. I had a certain circle I would just go to and actually do house calls, but it was dangerous as well because, you know, growing up in Stockton, it wasn't the easiest place. Like I was going to do house calls at times to just like friends that from high school, but they had problems with other guys, so they were over there damn near trying to shoot each other. And it's like I'm over here, you know, trying to grow, but I'm risking my life because I'm put in a position that could potentially like get me in trouble. But I didn't care because I just wanted to get better. So those are the things I had to do in the beginning. But I mean, as far as the rest, it was just practice, repetition, reinvesting, you know, always trying to learn. Once I met my wife, she told me like, hey, like you're good at this, you know, you should get serious, you should go to school. And yeah, that's what I did next. A few months later, got my barber license, and boom, got into my first little salon. That didn't work out. Unfortunately, it was just a beauty salon that was near my house, and I was like, cool, this is perfect. It's gonna be like close to my mom's house, but that's not always the best situation. A buddy of mine that pretty much took me under his wing. He pretty much told me, hey, I'm at this salon as well, and it's super chill. We have an extra chair, you should come. But me, that I've always been the type of person to stay in my lane, I was like, no, it's cool. I'll go to this salon, right? And then boom, it didn't work out. So then I hit him up. Sure enough, I got in there, took me under his wing. He was an OG, really, really good, very booked, and I learned a lot of my, learned the ropes with him. I feel like he really taught me about like customer service, how to treat the clients, like waking up early, staying late, like all those things that are like super, super important within cutting hair, as far as like long-term success. We stood there maybe like 2-3 years together, and then once he left, that's when I feel like I really took off. I feel like for a bit I was kind of like that young stubborn guy, so I would listen to him, but I wouldn't really apply it. But once he left, I took everything in and boom, applied it. And it's always good to have like some type of mentor in the industry, and just somebody that could, you know, lace you up when you need that guidance. So he did that for me, and I started going to like barber events a lot, and that's really how I got my name known around, because I would go to barber battles, compete, and that's where I got a lot of my trophies that you guys have seen like me post, you know, before. Just kept doing that, establishing enough of a name and a presence, and just consistently posting on social media. And then once I kind of stopped the battles, that's when I said, all right, time for a barbershop. Focused on my shop. Thankfully that happened, and that's where Sharp and Dapper started. I just made it a priority to mold the, you know, it wasn't just myself no more, it was a team. So I was like, how the hell am I gonna do this? But you know, I gave it my all. 2 years in, maybe like a year in, it was like, okay, finally it's established. People know, like, you know, that this is a standard that we have to live up to here. And boom, my shop grew. Now we're up to 12 chairs. So we started with 6, up to 12, going on 3 years. So that's pretty much where we're at now. At the point where 10 years later, I'm just like, okay, like time to step away and do something different. I'm not saying that I'm completely quit cutting hair. I joke about the retired part at times, but I really feel like I gave my all, literally like blood, sweat, and tears. It wasn't easy, but I feel like it really has molded me into, like, you know, becoming the person I am. Definitely has helped me grow as a businessman, and you know, I'm grateful for barbering in general, because that's really what has helped me grow the most. That's pretty much my journey in barbering. Now we're here, you know, doing my first YouTube video, getting ready to venture off into like new things that I've wanted to do before. And I think it's like, what better time now where I have like so many stories to tell and experiences. I feel like it's only right to share it now with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the Q&A today. Let me know how I did for my first video, my official first like sit down video alone. Of course you guys have seen me with my wife before, but hopefully this showed you guys a different side of me, and there's really just more to come. Let me know what you guys think. I'm pretty much open to anything. Comment below, subscribe, and also share. I appreciate you guys so much. Let's see where this journey takes us. Until the next time, peace.